Spike, Daring Do, After Love by Swedish Diablo. Like every evening, Spike is often in his room reading of Daring Do books. He very loves stories that are Daring Do. In fact, there was actually Rainbow Dash who introduced him to these books. At first he thought, okay, this is just another storybooks which maybe as a pony as a hero, now this is fighting as dragons. But after reading one of the first chapters in the first book he got from her, he got actually stuck in this book. After he read the first book, Rainbow Dash asked Spike what he think about this book, and he said it was very awesome. I didn't know this book was so great. Do you have any more I can borrow? And Rainbow Dash had several books of Daring Do stories, so he could borrow at least 3 more. And for the next couple of days, for every night, he often read maybe 2 or 3 chapters. And one night, when he was still up, it was probably around 3 in the morning. Twilight couldn't sleep, so when she walked by his room, she see it was still light. Spike, what are you doing up so late? It's 3 in the morning. Oh, I didn't know it. Had you been up all night reading those books again? Yeah, they were great. Spike, you should know that. Get some sleep. You have work tomorrow. A few more paces, please. And Spike tried to make his puppy eyes. Fine. At least I should at this end of this chapter, but no more. You know you have much work tomorrow, Spike. Yeah, I promise. And then Twilight went back to her room. But Spike, even he finished that chapter, he started to put into the next one and the next one. And early as just around 8 in the morning, Spike had just finished the book, and Twilight walked into his room to wake him up. Spike, please don't tell me you were up all night reading that book again. I told you, we have work today. Yeah, Twilight, I know, said Spike quite tiredly. Please let me sleep for just 5 minutes. Alright, I give you 20 minutes to sleep, but then you have to help me. We have much to do today, you know that. Alright, thanks, Twilight. Then he fell right asleep. During his sleep, he was dreaming that he was helping Daring Do in a fight against some robbers in the end who started to steal an ancient artifact from a temple. Then he wakes up. Spike, time to go up. Already? Yeah, it has been 20 minutes. Alright, Twilight, I'm coming. But he looked at the next book, and Spike, don't try to read the next book, please. I know you want to read, but save it till later, alright? Now, come on, we have work to do. Spike was about to reach the book when he heard it. He wanted to read the book, but he didn't want to make Twilight disappointed, so he left the room and started to help her. Even he wanted to help, he helped her so much, but during his work with Twilight, he couldn't stop thinking about the book, and suddenly, alright Spike, you have worked now for at least 3 hours. You deserve a break. So you can go up and read your book again. Really? Yeah, go ahead. Thanks, Twilight. And he ran as fast as he could up to his room. He jumped up on his bed and took the book and started to read it. It's just about almost at 5 or 6 p.m. Twilight, Spike, dinner time. Already? He looked at his watch. Oh, he didn't notice that he had spending almost several hours reading the same book. At dinner table. So, Spike, how much books have you read now? I think the first one from Rainbow, so probably 4 or 5. Spike, you should know that you shouldn't read so much. Easy for you to say, Twilight. You read all the time. Yes, but I study magic, not reading that kind of books all the time. Oh yeah? You read all those books yesterday. Yeah, during my break. I, I know I want to read more, but I'm saving those best parts till later. Even I want to read them too. I wanted to meet during the in person. You know that during the is not actually that same pony as you wanted to believe. Of course I know. I know that she is actually a A.K. Yearling, the author. Rainbow told me. Yes, that's true. But can we meet her? Please, please? Twilight tried to say no, but she knows that it would be pointless to say no to Spike since he made his puppy eyes. Well, I can ask Rainbow if he can come along, but not today at least. We can try tomorrow. Yay! Said Spike, and he took his book and ran back to his room. And already next day, Twilight had talked to Rainbow if they could go to Yearling to talk to her, and so Spike can meet her in person. And Rainbow said, "Yeah, let's go." And then they all went there. And to the surprise, Yearling was actually home and working on the next book. But she didn't want to have any visitors at all. But since there was actually Twilight and Rainbow, she allowed them, at least them, to visit. And Spike was so excited to meet her, he couldn't stop talking about his adventures or that he read about in books, and he often asked her, "Can I have your autograph? And what's your next story about? And next after that, and after that?" All that kind of questions. And Yearling couldn't stop saying, "No, no, 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 please, no more questions. I need to work." But Spike didn't want to stop asking questions. But then Twilight said, "Spike, it is enough. Please. You know that she had much work, so don't bother her too much with questions." "Sorry, Twilight," said Spike sadly. Just before they left, Yearling said that she was going on with her next adventure. Soon. But Rainbow said, I can't go with you. I had so much practice with the Wonderballs, and... What about you, Twilight?" "Oh, no, I can't. I have so much study to make this, and I have this real meeting in next soon a few days, so I can't." "I can," said Spike, and they all three looked at him. "Really, Spike? Are you willing up for these kind of adventures with her?" said Rainbow. "Yeah, I read all about her books, well, as many as I could, and I have been through adventures myself with you, so what else can I she been through?" And Rainbow looked at Twilight. He got a point there, Twilight. We have been through a much tough adventures ourselves, with Sombra, Discord, and even the Storm King, and those two three adult dragons who tried to burn down Equestria a few weeks ago. "Yeah, you're right. But are you sure, Twilight, Spike?" Spike was quiet a moment to think, and he knew that even though those stories in the books were more intense adventures than his own was, but and true. In fact, he had a few other adventures was quite similar to what Daring Do had. But yeah, I'm sure, said Spike. "All right, if it's okay for you, Yuri." Yuri was actually looking at Spike and thought, "Baby dragon, can he be that tough?" But she knows about the stories about Twilight and her friends have done over the last few years. and she was wondering, are you willing up to this new adventure, Spike? You know it can be so much threatening that might hurt you, and I don't want to take you to that risk. I'm safe, I'm sure, said Spike with a smile. Alright then, give me a to about tomorrow. No, within 2 days, then we'll leave. Yay, said Spike, and he couldn't stop smiling, and he even told all the other friends about this. And Pinky, she was so excited about this. But Spike said, it's just me. I'm sorry, Pinky, just me. But Pinky was so excited, even she knew that it was just him and Daring too. And when the day came, Twilight explained to Spike, just to be safe, Spike. I know, Twilight, you don't have to lecture me all the time. I know. And here. And he gave her some food and some gems and wished him luck. Spike went to Yearling's home. And are you ready, Spike? Yeah, I'm ready. Okay, hop on. And he said, hop on her back, and they flew right to the next location. Where are we going? To an ancient temple in the northern Equestria. In Northern? I thought there was no other temples there. Actually, it is. This temple was built about 1,000 years ago or more. No one has been there for centuries. When the travel there took at least several hours, and Spike fell asleep almost halfway. Okay, Spike, we're here. Huh? Already? Yeah. And Spike saw this enormous temple into the mountain. It was like they built into the mountain itself. It was like 200 meters tall, and it was middle of nowhere. There was mountains around. So where are we going here? We're going to find an ancient artifact, actually a treasure, that's been lost, and I'm bringing back to Manhattan's museum. Wow! So we went into the temple. I have to ask, how did you found this temple? And since you understand no one has been here for centuries, but how did you know about it? Oh, a friend of mine works at actually in Nottingham's university, and she has quite a knowledge and has extended research about this, and she actually sent me this copy of this about this temple, and she asked me if I could bring it to Manhattan's cities. Spike was impressed about all this extended research she had made to this temple. And what kind of treasure is it? Oh, it's I think it was about a diamond dragon head. Or was it? No, wait, was it? No, sorry, was it a crystal head of an alicorn? Spike was impressed. But is it just temples often have traps or any, I don't know, trapdoors? Yeah, but so far it's okay. Whoa, watch out, Spike! And they fought, and she managed to put them aside. And then, like several arrows from one wall, back and forth. Wow, that was fast. Yeah, next time, look where you're going, Spike. Next time you might be in the same luck. Oh, okay. And after about an hour and so many traps through the temple, they enter the main chamber. And one of the pedestals right in the center of the room with its crystal head of the anicle. Oh, but Spike, don't go near it, because it might be trapped around it, since this room is the chamber. Remember? Oh, yeah. So Darington took a rock and threw it in the room, and she was right. They landed on a rock on a step just near the pedestal, as several arrows and through the room, and it looks like almost 2 flamethrowers on the walls burned just less than half a meter away from the pedestal. Oh! If we had stood there, we would be toast. Well, except for me, I'm fireproof, said Spike. Yeah, but we wouldn't take that risk, weren't we? No. So they two went up to the room and to the chamber and managed to take the crystal head carefully. Just when she thought it was safe, the entire temple started to shake. She forgot maybe at all of one of the last traps. It was actually a booby trap. This booby trap was designed for just to make sure that no one will take the head from the pedestal. If she does, the entire temple would collapse over them. I think the temple's about to collapse. Run! But it wouldn't run in time, so Deridu grabbed Spike and put him on his back and flew so fast as she could out of the temple. And just a knack of time, just before they left the temple, it collapsed into just one rubble mess. Wow! That was amazing! I've never been so much intense, said Spike. And even Deridu could agree with Spike. And from that moment, Deridu started to like Spike more than expected. Well, next stop is Manhattan. So they went to Manhattan, but this time they took the train. Wow, she could see Spike and Deridu saw so many different artifacts. Some of them were a few hundred years old, to a millennium, 1,000 years old, or at least several decades old. But some of these artifacts were actually brought there by Deridu himself. And after they left the Daring Manhattan, away on the next train back to her home, she asked Spike if he had liked this adventure. And in fact, Spike said, "Yeah, I love this adventure. I want to know more." Oh, well, I'm going to the next adventure soon. You want to go on that? Yeah. And Spike just smiled when they were outside her home later on. Spike gave her a hug and suddenly she kissed him. I really like this adventure with you, Spike. You're very brave. Thanks. And I think you're very beautiful. And Spike started to notice that he couldn't stop saying it. And when he said it, Deridu, what else can she do until just smile and blush? When Spike came home, his friends asked him, "So, how was your adventure? Did you enjoy it? Did you see anything adventures? Whatever." All kinds of questions. Yes, I love it. It was great. And so next several months, Spike went off for adventures with Deridu and often get the same book of their adventures as a gift back. But even after they had been on adventures for about 5 years, Spike had asked her if she would like to be his girlfriend, and she said yes. This was the most different dates that Spike has been on, even before he even met Deridu. And Spike, what else can he say about this than that he very loved his adventures with Deridu? And one day, when Spike was about 20 years old, many years later on, he planned to propose to Deridu, which he did, and she was very surprised, and she said yes about his question. And the big question was then, where would they had their honeymoon? But first they had their wedding in Canton, and this wedding was probably one of the biggest of the year. And they celebrated wedding and the honeymoon in one of those ancient art temple in Crystal Empire. And it was a temple nearby, but this time it wasn't that ancient. It was at least about 500 years old. Even they had a lot of adventures there, but still they had much great time together at the honeymoon. Spike remained at Twilight's side as her #1 assistant, and during Do, well, she actually moved from her small house in the forest nearby where she lived into Ponyville. But she decided to live outside of town, where she could work by herself. And just a few months later, after they had moved there, Spike was told by Daring Do that they were going to expect a baby soon. And Spike, he was more than excited about this news. And a few months later on, Spike and Daring Do had a baby daughter. And they named the daughter to Brave Star. And Brave Star, well, she actually had inherited her mother's bravery and excitement for adventures and even writing down. And she became like her own mother, but in more it tends to to study the more ancient cultures. And even Brave Star became a, a history professor at Manhattan University, like her mother's friend. At some point there, she married a stallion who also interested in history. And just like her mother, she had at least 4 daughters of her own. Spike and Daring Do was much happy to have their own daughter and to have 4 grandchildren. They couldn't be more proud to have such a big family to love and protect from any kind of any danger that could happen. And that's how Spike and Daring Do found a true love and got a big family. The end.